is reaching its second anniversary this November, and our registered Ontario athletic therapists would be interested in your assessment of the program's key achievements at this early stage. What advances currently underway and scheduled with Transcendent do you think have the most potential as concussion research game changers?
Well, Dawn, thanks so much for having me, and I'm really passionate about this field. So maybe I'll give you a context
Sure.
about why we launched Transcendent. So from day one, before we even enrolled our first patient or even put in the grant, we did an exercise that was all across Canada, and it got information from patients who had concussion with their lived experience, their caregivers, and frontline healthcare providers. Sometimes physicians, physiotherapists, athletic therapists,
Mhm.
occupational therapists, mental health. And that whole exercise was called the James Lind Alliance Priority Setting Partnership. And it's a very structured way to make sure that the priorities are shared. And
Okay.
we had over 1,000 people across Canada give input on what were the most important questions in concussion. And
Mhm.
so there was a top 10 list. We actually published that top 10 list in the journal called JAMA Network Open. And our whole purpose of being for Transcendent is to try to answer those top 10 priority questions. It's the questions that matter most to the bedside, the clinic, the sideline, and those are our roadmap. So what are the questions we're hoping to answer? We're hoping to get faster and more accurate diagnosis. What are the characteristics of the people? We call it phenotype. So sometimes it's their background history. Sometimes it could be findings on their physical exam. It may be some biomarkers. All those things can inform who are you.
Right.
But how do phenotypes determine different recovery trajectories? And then what are the treatments that we do that help people get back to doing the things that they love and need and want to do?
Mhm.
As quickly and as safely as possible. And then the last thing is the best way to treat a concussion is not let one happen. So we're also working on some of the elements of what are ways to prevent concussion.
Ah,
And
yeah.
so those are the North Star of what is guiding the questions we want to ask. So how are we doing so far? I think we're doing really incredibly. Like we've got a
Mhm.
great team. It's a 30 international world leading experts are part of the scientists who help form this, but we also have a team of like 20 plus people in our community advisory group to make sure that we're staying on target to answering the questions, and how we're collecting the data aligns with that patient-centered experience and research that keeps the participant in mind, not just what the scientist wants. So we've enrolled over 2,000 people to date. These are all been enrolled across the three sites of the 360 Concussion Care Network. And we've also launched numerous sub-studies as well. So some of the sub-studies we've launched include tilt table testing that tests for autonomic dysregulation. We could talk about that more later if you're curious. We're doing exercise testing using the Buffalo protocols, not just in athletes, but even in non-athletes, which is really interesting as well, and maybe of interest to athletic therapists, is to get the people who don't like to do exercise to do exercise as well. We're doing eye tracking, pupillometry, and then some fluid biomarker tests as well. We're just launched home wearables. The nice thing about that is it's actually allowing people to be not just evaluated when they show up, but for us to see how they're doing where they live. And the whole goal of this is to get this world-leading data set to really answer all those questions. So you asked about what are the game changers? It's a long question, but I could try. I think the game changers ties into our priority questions. So the first game changer I hope to see is precision care. Rather than say one size fits all, we know that there are so many factors that may make one person need a different treatment than the other. And those factors could be their age, their sex, their past medical history. Like someone with a migraine may need a different headache treatment than someone without. Someone with 4 prior concussions may need a different treatment plan than someone who's had none. Those are all things we're going to learn more about, and figuring out what's the precision care, what's the right treatment for the right person at the right time. Second game changer is really looking at those therapies, which was one of the major discoveries. Like And it's not just the pharmacological. Yeah, I am, as a physician, very interested in what medicine's better for the headache, or getting people who, despite counseling or getting exercise, their mood is still, or their worries are really high. Sometimes you need both. But all the non-pharmacological therapies, but everything from physical activity to back to work to screen time, to even motivational interviewing. The simple thought of you're going to get better as compared to walking in the room and saying, "Oh no," has even been shown to improve outcomes. And then finally, data at scale. Our discoveries. I think the game changer is not the fact that we're just collecting all this data. Our funders for Transcendent is the Ontario Brain Institute. And one of the mandates is that all our data is uploaded quarterly into a thing called Brain Code. And it can all be shared with the data request access. There's a whole process for that. But academics and other scientists around the globe can request this. And that way the data can be leveraged multiple times over and combined with other data sets and maybe help us find those needles in the haystacks. So as you can tell, I'm really passionate about this study and the project, but those are the big picture things. I'm sure you have a lot of follow-up questions diving more into the nuances of some of those things I've already mentioned.